Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Three's In. Bobo here. So, the other day, I took off on another thread, a thread on the Holliker history, the Holliker heritage, if you will. And to that end, I introduced you to a man named Johannes Holliger. He's the individual that came over from Switzerland when he was 30 years old. And when you begin to do family research, if it hasn't already been started for you, I strongly suggest just pick one individual in the line, and then you can move forward and backward from that one individual. And that's essentially what I did here. So I knew Johannes Holliger from the Green Book, and from that I began to search. And one of the first things I found were 4 documents written in German. And that was very fascinating to me. Now, at one time, I could read German a little bit better than I can today and could speak it a little bit better than I can today. At any rate, that gave me a little bit of a heads up on this research of mine. So the first document that I want to introduce you to is his certificate of baptism. And that's the image I'm going to use on this presentation. So here's what we see here today. Now, the thing I want you to take note of, or encourage you to take note of, are the horizontal and vertical creases in that, lines in that. Those are crease marks from this original document being folded and probably put in a pocket somewhere. Now, the fascinating thing about this document, Certificate of Baptism, is it declares that he was born on the 27th winter month of 1803. Now, what in the world's a winter month? I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. And it goes through and it tells who his father was. His father was also named Johannes Holliger von Rhein. He was from the Swiss village of Rhein. And his mother was Marie Hurt von Lafort. Lafort is I probably butchered the name, but oh well. Marie Hurt, being from Lafort, is just up the road from Rhein, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles maybe. But the fascinating thing about this document is it is signed 23 April 1833 by Pastor Marx. So why would he have a certificate of baptism dated 23 April 1833? Well, I'm happy to tell you why. When children were born in the 1800s, 1800s in those days, they were usually baptized the first Sunday after they were born because of the high infant mortality rate they had. So, born on the 27th winter month in 1803, that kind of narrows me down to a date, if you will. And so his birth was recorded in a ledger downstairs in the church, so typical of Swiss churches, Swiss communities. And often the pastor was the one in the community that was the most educated, who could read and write. And on Sundays after church, that was one of the pastor's duties, was to sit down and record all the significant events of the village during the week. That's one of the things I learned in my research. Okay, getting back to the birth certificate at hand here. So, it's dated 23 April 1833, and I didn't pay attention to that at first, and then one day I was looking at it and went, what the hell? Why would they date his birth certificate in 1833 when he was born in 1803? Well, it became very clear to me he didn't need it. He didn't need a certificate of baptism until or when he was ready to leave. This certificate of baptism also served as his passport, if you will. So that's the significance of this document. It also told who his godparents were. And so it's kind of enlightening there. Now I'm going to come back in another video here and discuss a little bit about the 27th winter month in 1803, and we'll narrow his birthday down. I can get pretty darn close on it. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I know the exact date. So we'll take it off from there in another presentation. But suffice to say, Johannes was 30 years old when he left Switzerland and came to America. So that was the beginning. And I'll pick it up a little more here as we get going. Once again, thanks for tuning in. This is Bobo, Bass Gear. Stop.